Hey everybody, this is Deborah Richmond. I've got a tool today to show you that I have just discovered. I'd love to bring you the tools that I find very helpful with quilting. My favorite tools are those that make my quilting either easier to do or faster. And I found a tool that fits exactly that. I think it does both, actually. And it's called the Bias Ruler by TQM Products. It's going to help us create a lot of bias cuts on fabric very quickly. And most particularly what I use bias for the most, as do most quilters, is for bindings for my quilt. And so I've already used this ruler twice for a couple of quilts that I needed to get the binding onto, and it just made the cutting process much faster. So let me show you the ruler. It is, again, one of those foldable rulers by TQM Products, which is one of my favorite new discoveries. And I just love this because I'm going to be able to take this to quilt camp, which I'm going to be going to very soon. And it's just so nice to be able to pack this and also to be able to put it away in my sewing room because it can be a nice long ruler, but it's not going to take up this much room. So the ruler itself has many lines on it, and I know that you probably won't be able to see this all that well, but I'm going to show you. What it has is it has written instructions, and these are the instructions exactly that I'm going to show you right now. They are on the ruler itself. They are written right on the ruler, so when you have it, you can go through the instructions each time and you're not going to forget how to use this. You can also come back to this video as well and just refresh on how to use it, but it's really simple. Lots of lines on it. This is a 2.5-inch ruler, and I love this size because this is the size I like to use for binding for quilts. Now what I have in front of me is a 1/2 yard of fabric, and this ruler works really well with a 1/2 yard cut, and you get many feet of bias cut fabric out of this 1/2 yard, and none of it's going to be wasted. So let me show you how this works. On the 1/2 yard of fabric, you are going to place the edge of this ruler has a cut and a notch right here on an angle, and that is the 45-degree bias angle we want. I'm going to place this particular end on this side of my 1/2 yard and this end on that side, so you can see that the size of the ruler fits perfectly on this 1/2 yard. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my first cut. So I'm going to start right here at the bottom. I'm going to cut. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and pull this apart. And you can see now, I am going to be able to place this ruler now just right on that nice clean edge and make a cut, and a cut, and a cut. I can go right on down to the end of the fabric as far as I want. I can also then do the same thing, and I like to turn my fabric around. And I'm now going to do the same thing here. So, I mean, as you know, when you're starting to cut bias, so I'm going to put it right on the edge, make a cut, I'm going to slide it, make another one, and another one, a couple more. As you know, when you're working with bias, the hardest part of doing the cutting is getting started. This way I can very quickly cut a 1/2 yard of fabric, place my ruler down, boom, get started, cut as much as I need out of this 1/2 yard, and then start using it for binding. So again, this ruler is called the Bias Ruler by TQM Products. I'm going to have information below on how to order the ruler straight from the company online. And I think you'll agree with me that this is just another one of those tools that you're going to use every time you bind a quilt. I know I'm going to use it every time I bind a quilt. And it makes that process just fast to get started, get that binding cut so that you can start putting it on your quilt. Thanks for joining me. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can do so here by clicking the subscribe button. That way you'll find out about new videos as they become available.